So I have been sitting here trying to get all my screens together, and I'm not exactly sure of when it says now that I am live. And so I will take it that that is the truth. Good morning to you. Still clicking, as you can hear. Getting all of this just set up just so I can see everything. And how are you? I hope that each of you had a fabulous Tuesday. I know I have a fabulous every day. So I'm hoping that yours was equally as good, if not better, than my own. Um, just always so grateful. Hey, Erica. Good morning, darling. How are you? Ah, goodness. I'm still trying to get myself all set up here, and as you can see, sometimes that is a chore for me. My yeah. I hope all is well with you. It seems like I hadn't seen you in a minute. And when I saw the bike out the other day, I was like, ooh, I think today, is supposed to be a really good day. So that is what I'm hoping and I'm anticipating. And see what I can make it do. Maybe I'll go to the park. I don't know. um, I have work to do. I got work to do. So how is everything? I got work, baby. I get so I have been watching a new what is it that you want? Can you guys see him? I guess. What is it that you want, little dude? Gigi's about to get you off of her thing. That's what it is. He knows he's about to get knocked off of he's in my other dog's seat. And so, did I get a bag yesterday for Valentine's Day? No, no. Why? Do you see a bag? Is it my face? What? No, I did not. Oh, you're talking about that little suggestive bag that I got for Christmas. No, I got no such thing for Valentine's Day. Maybe I should have gave somebody that bag. That would have been crazy for me to try to I don't feel so inspired. Grand rising to you, Walker. No, I don't feel that inspiration. No inspiration like that, Erica. Look, that's why you showed up to see if I got another another trick bag. No, I did not. No, I did not. So, that there, stick a fork in that. That is done. Woo, yeah, that threw me for a couple circles, a couple loops. And so, no, I did not get a bag, nor did I give a bag yesterday for Valentine's Day. So, there. That is hilarious. Hilarious. So, but yesterday was cool. And then I caught myself going to, good morning, Everett. How are you? It's good to see you here. I hope all is well. I trust all is well with you. Look, it is Wednesday. And yesterday, I'm gonna tell you, I was on here for a while, and nobody. It was like I was like thinking, like, is the world sleeping in today? Is everybody having breakfast in bed? I didn't get a good morning or a hello or anything while I was on here yesterday. No Valentine's greetings, nothing on here yesterday. I was like, damn, what is going on? So it is such a pleasure to see you guys today, and whatever that is such a wonderful thing. But now what I'm seeing is wait a minute. Let me verify that today the temperature will be up to 66 degrees. And since there is a wind advisory, I'm assuming that there is some stuff blowing into town. And that blowing into town is can be anything. It can be anything. I remember watching that movie Chocolat. Did you guys see that Chocolat movie? And it was this gypsy woman that made chocolates, and it was such a sexy movie. I think it had Johnny Depp in there. And anyway, such a sexy movie, but it was so interesting because it would be like she would hear the whisper on the wind that told her it was time to move on or to go someplace different. And her daughter and Pad, Badu or something like that didn't want to leave, and so it was where she finally made her stop. But it was all of these wonderful things about ancestral, I'll say ancestral trauma, or that which pushed her forward, as well as this idea about finding place and what it means, what home is, at all of those beautiful, wonderful things. And so when it's windy out, I often think about that show. I think about it and think to myself, what is being blown in, what comes in on the wind. So, they say that March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. But here we are only at the 15th of February. So it's not even like we are close to that point. But there is a cold wind blowing the stars around, right? And I really love to see you tonight. I love it. I love it. And so I don't know what all that entails right now, but if we stay open, and that's one of my things, is staying open. If you stay open to what gifts these shifts will bring, it sometimes brings some amazing messages to us. So this today I have been listening to there's a I love to listen to these things that different networks have available. The networks will have series available, and it'll only be for like 24 hours, but they'll have all of these different people who are working around certain issues. So a couple of weeks ago, I sat in on a series of things about ancestral trauma. Well, there is a new one out that is also talking about trauma, but it's talking about trauma across the board. And the videos are only available for 24 hours for free. But if you pay for them, you can get them and you can watch them any old time. For people who that is their profession, it is great because it's a write-off. It's something that you can watch and you can attend. But for somebody who doesn't have that write-off ability, I'm trying to watch in for free. And so there is all of these things. All right. So let's see what what has happened? Two and two, return home. Let's see, select. I don't know what is going on, but let's see. Ha! Ha 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 ha! All right, so I don't know. It doesn't look like. Okay, so anyway, let's see. Let's see. It says I am live now, and I don't know what the heck happened. It seems like all of a sudden, my video just went down, and yeah, for whatever reason, it just went out on me. And so I'm back right now, and I don't know how long I'll be back for, but maybe that's what the wind is blowing in. It's blowing in a new experience or blowing in something, but that is the experience right now. So, ha! So maybe I lost you. Maybe I lost you. Anyway, so here we go. Let me pick back up, because what happened is my YouTube did not go down, only my Facebook, and so it would probably be best or more professional if I didn't announce, "Ooh, my Facebook went down," and then just kind of come full stop and then resume. But the fact of the matter is that I got it booted me the heck off, and so I am back. So what I want to do is I want to read for you out of the Science of Mind magazine, the daily guide for today. And then, and once I do that, then see if there is something that is coming up that needs to come out. If not, then I can simply move on or choose to end early today. But one of the things I was saying is that I've been watching these workshops around trauma online, and it is always fascinating to me to hear other people as they process information, and how long and how prevalent this has been in our society. However, we don't give much voice to it. So now that it is, every once in a while these things pop up, these kind of catchwords pop up. So whether it was post PTSD after the war and things, they wanted to understand the impact of the things that people had been going through, and then they started to talk about PTSD. Then when they started talking about post-traumatic slave syndrome, they started to talk about that, because there was a whole set of symptoms, ideations, fears that people could not explain that were prevalent at the time. We've seen this after things like the Holocaust, or what happened in many different countries where they have had genocide or different things like that. There is a comprehensive healing that needs to take place in order to move on from those types of things. One of the things that a friend of mine told me that had gone to Germany is that around the city they had landmarks and things that were placed on buildings, people's names, as if there was something powerful about invoking the names of those ancestors that had been taken away, that had been killed during the Holocaust. So there are so many different ways in which people deal with the trauma that's been experienced. What is trauma? So there are events that happen in our life. Sometimes very short-term event, like you see a shooting. Sometimes it is long-term abuse or violations that happen over long periods of time that also are considered trauma. Whichever it is not just the event that happens, but how it lives in your body, how those things get into your DNA, how it alters your tissues, all of those things. And so figuring out how to bring that up so that you can heal it is a whole nother process. And so that's one of the reasons why I love watching these types of things. Let me tell you this quick story before I read for you from the Science of Mind magazine. There was Dr. I want to, it's not Sigler, it's another one, Levine. He was talking about how he first came across this idea of somatic healing. And one of the things that he said is that he had been hit by a car. He says he got hit, somebody driving and they hit him. And he says he went up into the air, popped up into the air, hit their windshield, came down, rolled off the car, and he was laying there. And he says that people started running towards him as he was laying there. But he says that he was not looking at the scene from being within his body. He said that he was looking at it as if he was hovering above himself. And he says, and he couldn't figure out quite how to get back to himself. And he says he was hovering above and he was watching the scene, but he says he didn't feel like he was quite dead. He felt just like he just had been, you know how people say the wind got knocked out of you. He felt as if there was something that was happening, but he couldn't figure out how to get back to himself. So anyway, as he's telling this story, he says there was a woman who pushed through the crowd saying that she was a doctor. And he says, he says he was thankful for her, but didn't quite know how to talk to her or address her. And he says that she came up and she got down on the ground where he was and she took his hand. And he says, and it enabled me to find his way. He says that touch, that holding of the hand was a way for me to connect or to reconnect with myself by her connecting with my body. And so they go on to talk about this thing about how powerful connection is. And a lot of times we don't recognize how powerful it is, even when it's missing, because it seems as though there is, you existed in a particular way for so long, or sometimes you don't know exactly what the cause of your dysfunction may be. But he says it's the power of connection, of connectedness. Sometimes we just need somebody else to touch us or to anchor us. And it sort of explains the dynamic that we saw or people experienced during the shutdown. This feeling of disconnection, this feeling of disassociation, this feeling that things were going wrong, that there needs to be some type of an anchor that we have, and we serve as that for one another. And I thought it was so really good and profound, especially given the examples that he did. He says that we have a hard time regulating ourselves in isolation. And maybe that's one of the reasons why isolation is a form of punishment that they give to prisoners or something like that. This idea of not being able to connect. And so when he talked about, the realization of how significant and important connection was, then he started he built a whole practice around this idea of connection, somatic healing and connection. So there was another person who talked about that as long as he was living by himself, he felt like he could not find the ground of his own being. He says, but there was something about being proximate to other people who may not have even been related to him or even friends of his, but the fact that he could sense their presence was somehow calming and settling to him. And so he realized how important connection is. Now, many people will have, after yesterday, made some decisions in their lives about their level of connection. Whether you made it yesterday or this has been a while coming, whatever, there are times that we have to step back and assess even our ideas about our values, what's important to us. Is it connection? Are we feeling connected? And when we're not, what would be helpful to anchor us, to regulate us? And so if I don't know who that is for, but if you are feeling dysregulated, or if you don't feel yourself, consider that there might be options or choices that you can make that would anchor you in a more significant way than you might have realized was necessary. So I just think that sometimes what we do is we just, I don't need nobody, right? But we as humans are not made to be isolated from one another. Love is the truth of all of our being. It is the fabric that unites everything. And when we disconnect or disengage ourselves, somehow thinking that makes us strong, our ego will fool us into thinking that, ooh, this is, I'm look at me. I'm so powerful I can stand on my own. Right? Okay. But here's the other side of that. You're not meant to. And one of the things that about love and relationships, your ability to stay out of one does not make you a strong person. It's really a fear. I hate to say it, but it's really a fear mechanism. And this is me talking, single Sandra, right? This is me talking. But what I do know is that I have, very good connections and friendships that are in my life, as well as animals that are in my life. But what I know is that I'm not running from it as if I'm afraid. I make my choices based on what I know that I can deal with. And so one of the things that I'm hoping for you is from the story of Dr. What did I say his name was? Whatever it is. It starts with a L. Is it Lanier? Whatever his name is. But yeah, that the experience that he had just finding himself and finding place, or this feeling of connectedness, this feeling of having a home base. And that's one of the reasons too they talk about how significant and important it is, for babies, young babies. Babies cannot self-regulate. They need their mother's touch. They need to feel that connection. It is and what it does is it provides us the security necessary to move out in the world. And so what you'll see is is the process for a baby is just like anybody else. As they begin to, walk or crawl, they'll get so far away, but they keep looking back for mama or daddy or whatever. But they keep looking for that home base because that home base is safety. The same is true with us as adults. What's your home base? What is your touchstone? What is it that regulates you? What is it that helps centers you? And so, sometimes what we have to do is to act like, we know the value of it and then go towards that. This is not saying that, not talking about codependency or relationships that don't work. Sometimes it's just being proximate to another person. It doesn't have to be somebody that you actually are married to or in a relationship with. There was this one company I used to go to and do trainings, and this one woman, her whole goal was when she talks about her aging process, what that was to look like. And so she was in the process of buying a big house, even though she was single, because she had the mindset that she wanted to be the Golden Girls when, as she aged. So they needed a place, they needed a porch, they needed separate bedrooms, they needed a common kitchen, they needed a place in the yard. But she had a very set idea about what she wanted her retired life to look like. And it wasn't going to be one of isolation. So when you are thinking about or planning for future stuff, a lot of countries, a lot of places you will see will have places where people don't feel isolated, where you can walk out your door and be on a plaza, or you can go out and get a coffee and be around other people. In apartment buildings, they a lot of times have a lobby with places where people can sit, and some folks actually go and congregate. I mean, I remember going to a friend's apartment building, and there were always people that were sitting in the lobby that, greeted folks that were coming in from work, or, this was the time when corded phones were still a thing, and you would see one phone going from one apartment to another, like, okay, I'm gonna just pick up this whole little phone and carry it. And then they got cordless phones, and now we have cell phones, so you don't see the cords going across the hall as much. But it's that idea of being proximate to other people that sometimes can be very comforting. And to know that sometimes the trauma or the damage that we experience is because we've been isolated. And so there's that pushing away, like, I don't need you. When in actuality, we all do. We all need each other. So consider that. And, I just thought that was, a really interesting, point to kind of flesh out and think about, especially as you think about, whether it's your reactions to, the experiences that you've had, or whatever that may be. You guys, oh my gosh, I'm less than a week out before before the Lenten season, and I got some different things going on here, and so I'll be announcing that probably tomorrow, because I am doing something with couple of churches here in town. So I will keep you informed, because that will more than likely be over Zoom. And it's another way of connecting with people if you are feeling disconnected. So hopefully that will be something that is of interest to you. So I want to read to you guys Reverend Raymond's thing for today. And hey, Sarika, good morning to you, beautiful. How are you? Love and blessings to you. So good to see you. It's so good to see you on here. Um, so I want to read this and, I want to read this and see where this takes me, because sometimes it takes me in a slightly different direction, whatever that might mean. Whatever that might mean. And I think I'm going to talk a little bit more about this idea of isolation, because something, I don't know why, just popped in my mind as I was switching. So that idea of isolation. Isolate and what of meaningful connections too, because a lot of times we do song and dance around people, but we never show our true self because we have judgments on ourselves. And so if you are not showing your true self, it is if your body is present but not your spirit, not your soul, not what makes you you. And so this desire to be seen and to be heard can't be met when you're not showing up, can it? So it becomes this question of, am I being my authentic self? Am I offering a part of me that's real? Dr. Brown, last week when we talked on here, I said something about tapping. I don't know if you guys know, and I just said I was going to read this right before but I don't know if you guys know about tapping. Tapping is, it opens up meridians. It is something that, as we tap on our bodies, we open up certain pathways. So one of the things that they talk about is these meridian points in our body. And and so it starts out where, like, this is a meridian point. And so one of the things that they start out doing, and there's a lot of people who tap and we don't know it, because it's not something that we usually talk about. I think it's called EFT also, but it's tapping. And so one of the things that they start off doing is they start tapping right here. And like, so say for instance, you've got a certain thing that you're trying to correct in yourself. So you might say something like, I know in the past I have been a procrastinator, but I still love and accept myself, right? And this could be with anything. I know in the past I have sabotaged relationships, but I still love and accept myself. Because if there's something that is blocking you from loving yourself, it's like one of the things that they do is right here on the side of your hand, just tapping into that. I know in the past I've been ass, right? But I still love and accept myself. Whatever, whatever it might be that is bothering you, is starting to tap on that on the side of your hand. And then there's all of these scripts that you can, people will have. And according to what your need is, if you're trying to bring more love into your life, if you're trying to bring more money into your life, if you're trying to get rid of some things that have caused you stress and drama in your life, they've got scripts for that. So if you go on YouTube and you just type in tapping, sometimes you can find tapping for exactly what it is that you are, what it is that's bothering you. If you've got trauma. So when I talked to Dr. Brown about this, he says, but there is a side of us that still needs to, there's a power in not just trying to cover over things, but in bringing it up, in allowing it to be heard, in expressing it. So to speak your word into the universe for whatever it is, right? Say for instance, is something that you don't even want to admit. And I want to let's see, give y'all a for instance, like say for instance, here's one. This is not true for me, so I don't even know that I want to tap on it, but it's of course it's not true for me. I have a really small penis, right? But I still love and accept myself, right? Or to say that I've got I can be argumentative at times, but I still love and accept myself. It could be any number of things that you begin to tap on. And then the next point is say for instance, is right up here, right up over your eye. And so, then you start tapping here, right? And let me see if I can give you a for instance. So, in the past, I have had a habit of procrastinating, but I still love and accept myself. And then they start talking it through. So you tap up here on the top of the eye, of your eye. I have known that there were things that I needed to get done. I have sometimes lingered way longer, let deadlines pass. There has been so many things that I've done, and I know I needed to get things done. So it's right up here, right above your eye socket. The next place you tap is over here, right? And so now I'm still addressing this thing about not getting things done. And so, you go through and you talk about it a little bit more. Next place is right at the top of your lip, right? So it is these places that we tap on our bodies and they open up meridian points. One is right over here. Look up tapping. If you've got something, even if it's weight loss, right? If it's weight loss, or if it's, your emotional stuff around sex, if it is about being touched, if it's about making money, if it's about whatever it is, you can type that into a YouTube thing and somebody will come up with a tapping video of how to tap these points on your body to release you from certain things. And don't discount it just because, like, say for instance, if you stop tapping and you don't feel anything right away, wait on it. Right? Don't try to modify your actions or anything like that. Wait on it and see what happens. Like if you have a hard time sleeping at night, things like that. It's an amazing thing to kind of see how that goes. One of the things that Dr. Brown talks about though is that it's not as simple as just, because some of those things need to come up, but the process brings them up. The process of doing it then allows you to run into things that help you shift around those ideas. It's good. So just tapping, TAPPING. You can type that into your YouTube thing and find whatever it is. If you're lacking self-confidence, if you are, even your judgments about yourself, right? If you're not feeling attractive or desirable or whatever, just, trying to figure out ways of dealing with whatever it is that's vexing you. Because here's what I know too, that declaration too out of your mouth brings forth things that, that enable you to deal with it. So if you're not being the person that you want to be, right? If, say for instance, you're a person that you don't even trust yourself, right? I always talk about how important trust is, but it's not about other people trusting us. It's about us trusting ourselves. Do you trust yourself to tell the truth, right? I remember when I first started getting serious about telling the truth. It was so hard. It was so hard, y'all. I had gone on a job interview. I went on a job interview. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to this lady who is, she seems like she's going down a checklist, trying to see these different things about me and my personality. And then she asked me, she says, well, we begin at 7 in the morning. Do you think you can be here on time? And the right answer was to say, yeah, heck yeah, I could be here on time. But I looked at her and I said, not 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? I was like, no, I can't be here on time. I was trying to tell her my truth. And I saw, how you look at a person, you're looking at a person and you can see their whole disposition change. It seems like I'm stuck. Am I stuck? I see spinning on my connection over here. That's interesting. I don't even know what to do to get unstuck, y'all. But I see myself stuck. My whole screen is stuck. I wonder if you can still hear me. But I had to tell her, heck no, I couldn't be there on time. I know it was my truth. And so I started getting on this thing about, yes, let me at least, because if I can't trust the words that are coming out of my mouth, it's no wonder other people can't trust it. If you don't trust yourself, and no sound either, jeez, I'm like, okay, so I now see myself moving again on my screen. I'm wondering if, okay, you still have audio. Okay, thank you, Walker. Thank you, Everett. Okay. It seems like I'm unstuck on my screen, but I'm having YouTube just did a loop or two. So anyway, I'm gonna keep talking because I'm assuming that you can hear me. So when you lack self-esteem, when you lack trust in yourself, it permeates your life. It starts to impact everything. So if you are finding that you don't even trust your own word, yeah, thank you, Sarika. Y'all, thank you. If you don't even trust your own word, then you got to back up and do the work on yourself so that you can trust and honor what you say, because otherwise that basically sullies or dirties your spirit. I know that I mentioned that quite a bit, but I think that it's so important for us to recognize that, the self-love and the self-trust and all of that stuff, it starts with how you feel about yourself. And that's one of the reasons why I'm always talking about doing mirror work, looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I love you, or looking yourself in the mirror saying, I trust you, I forgive you. Looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, you know what, in the past I have really messed up, but I still love and accept myself. Start off there. You can start right there. You can do it in a number of ways, but just doing that work, it allows you to regulate, to self-regulate. So remember, I was talking about the guy getting hit and him just needing a place of if you are disconnected, estranged from, dissociated from your own self, that will be your experience. And so it is just trying to figure out, how do I get back to a place of loving me? Because if you are not loving you, who else is going to love you, right? If you don't think you're worthy of love, good morning, Michael. If you don't think you're worthy of love, nobody else will. So just getting reconnected with yourself is so darn important. And if I told y'all that I used to walk around the track. When I went walking, I walked around the track saying, I love me unconditionally. And everything I do is good and very good. And I am prosperous now. And if you can imagine that I would be walking if I was getting in 2 miles, I was walking for at least 30 minutes or so. And I'm saying that over and over and over again. If you don't think that you are worthy of love, Michael, you won't think that God loves you either. So it is, let's work on getting to the point where we love ourselves. And as you love yourself, then you better able to understand that God is in you, right? Not because I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I don't know about y'all, right? But when I don't even want to say. Remember when I talked about this? I don't even want to say that. I want to say that. I got lipstick all over did I smudge my lipstick? Because it's all over my hand now. Anyway, so when I first got that I am host to God, right? It was an amazing thing. And I talk about that story sometimes. But you ever think to yourself, like, if God was to come to my house, would I let him in? Like, would he just want to be in all of this junk that I got? You be like, wait, hold up, let me clean up a little bit. That you want to straighten up. And that's the same way with your spirit. You want to straighten up. Because, yeah, sure enough, it'll come in and sup with you and you sup with it. That kind of whole analogy. It's never not with you. But sometimes it gets lost up under all the debris you got going on. It all up under all of that mess that you got going on. It gets lost. And so there is a part of us that at least needs to feel worthy of the love that we are asking for. And it's by doing the work. So let me read this because it's almost time. I think it's time for me to go because remember the video went down and came back up. And yeah, so it's almost time for me to get off of here. And I still haven't read this thing for today. And I know y'all may not like this, but I like to be consistent. So the title of this reading for today is called Based on What? Based on what is just the question. So the quote is from John Lennon, probably some lyrics. He says, I believe in everything until it's disproved. So I believe in fairies, the myths, dragons. It all exists, even if it's in your mind. Who's to say that dreams and nightmares aren't as real as the here and now? That's so true. And And two, I will tell y'all too, I'm right in here with him. I believe in fairies. I believe in magic. I believe that dragons existed if they don't still exist, right? There is all of these things that I believe is the truth, even if I have not actually seen them with my eyes. Now, one of the reasons why I think that one of the reasons why I think people can't see stuff sometimes is because they don't believe stuff. So, they say seeing is believing. I don't necessarily need to have that whole thing. So, from Ernest Holmes, the extension course, it says, on what is our faith and confidence based? That's the question that is asked. So here's what Reverend Raymond wrote. He says, imagine a continuum called faith. Imagine a continuum called faith. At one end is life affirming faith, and at the other end is life denying faith. Both are aspects of faith, and as a result, both have creative consequences in our lives. Everyone operates from any number of points along the faith continuum. It's not necessarily an either or experience. For some things, we may be further along the life affirming side, and for others, the life denying side. I may be life affirming as it pertains to my beliefs about health, but life denying regarding my belief about creating healthy finances. Let's get curious about our faith. Pause for a moment and look around at your life experiences. In many ways, they are outward demonstrations of your faith and confidence. Yes, there are some things that are a result of the collective consciousness, but for now, look at your life under the metaphysical microscope to ascertain what your faith and confidence are creating. The above quote from Holmes begins like this. Jesus told us that when we pray, we must enter the closet and shut the door. We should approach life inwardly and not outwardly. For to look only at the outward is to perpetuate the forms we desire to dissolve. In other words, creating, manifesting, demonstrating must begin with our consciousness or with our faith in our confidence. And the affirmation that he puts on here is, he says that what I believe is made evident in the life I live. I choose confidently and boldly to live out loud, audaciously, unapologetically, because of my life affirming faith. Yes, I live out loud, bodaciously, and boldly because of my life affirming faith. However, I will tell you that I never really think about this idea of faith anymore. I think that if I'm really trying to explain to you how I perceive faith, faith is something needed prior to the action. It sort of makes room for the action. But if you're already walking it, right? If you're already in it, if you're already doing it, it's not that it is in a limited supply, but it is the very thing that you are walking in step with. So it's like, so for me, there's a faith that creates a path, but once you're on the path, once you're walking, it seems as though that is no longer the question. It is just keeping it. And then when things come and it trips you up, or you get to a place where now I need to make a decision. Do I go right or do I go left? Or, what do I do? So, just thinking about how faith shows up in our life, I think is a great awareness, because in some areas we're doing the damn thing. And in other areas we need to, what is it that gets me beyond that? So, it's like, yeah, I think it's like a lot of things that we do. It's, I don't know. Sometimes we talk about things because we're trying to convince ourselves of them. And it becomes something else when we're actually doing it. So it is just always funny to me how that, the chicken or the egg kind of conversation. What is it that I need to do? And then, there are moments at which, you show up and you're doing what you do, right? Hey, Lewis, good morning. Some days you show up and you're doing what you do, right? And that's all good. But then, something happens. Like, so say for instance, yesterday when I came on here and nobody was here, nobody showed up. Remember, I told y'all that I had the church that I had over there on Buckeye. I made this decision that when I got there, when I had this church, I was like, if nobody walks in the door, when it's time for Sandra to stand up, Sandra stands up and starts talking, and the room could be empty, and I'm still gonna talk. Because what did this man say? He said he would just say, okay, all you angels, open up your hymnal to page so-and-so and go ahead with the doggone stuff. Because sometimes if we're waiting for the thumbs up, or if we're waiting for somebody to say attaboy or give us a heart or whatever, those things don't always come. And so they become the stuff that we're doing for other people and not for ourselves. It does say in the Bible very clearly, don't go, praying in front of crowds and stuff. Go into the closet. Go into the closet. And the closet is not like a, I'll tell y'all, the closet is not like you would think of the closet, because this is back in biblical days. They didn't even have closets, right? They didn't have no place where you go and you hang up clothes. They didn't have those things. So this is like a symbolic type of thing. Go pray in private. Right? Because the work that you are doing is internal work. I'm not telling y'all to go out and start tapping at the bus stop so that somebody can see you tapping like you're important, or like that's somehow something. If it enables you to do something, right? Okay, sure. People probably won't even know what you're doing. Some people will do this, I know when I get upset or nervous, I rub my third eye. Because I'm waiting for inspiration. I'm trying to say, hey, come on, wake up. So this stuff is stuff that you do. The working is turning inward. Dealing with yourself is an inward job. And then people will see it outwardly, right? That's one of the things that he says. When you pray, pray in private, not on Facebook, right? Pray in private. And the things that you do in private, people will see outwardly. They'll see it in your spirit. But sometimes we're so busy putting on a show, putting on this, putting on that, we never get there. So just consider that maybe the work to do is something that you need to just, pull back on. Everything, and I'm sure y'all think that I talk to y'all about everything. I do talk about a lot of stuff, but there are certain things that, I gotta take it in my own counsel and and work through it myself. You know, so you know, when I started out like early, first thing Erica asked me was if I got another bag for Valentine's Day. I don't know that I shared with you guys. I had a guy who was this guy who was on me, so to speak. This guy who really liked me, for Christmas gave me a bag, and this bag was a bag of sex toys, let's say. So I was trying to figure out, like, what the heck? Like, you know, I'm gonna use it like this. I'm gonna say it like this. You want to say to people, because I'm a speaker. I go out and I speak in front of people, right? I'm always saying, read the room. Read the room. You don't go into a place and start talking about, you know, like, let's talk about like working out in front of an audience of senior citizens, because it ain't necessarily what they interested in or where they're at. You need to read the room, be aware of the situation. This guy giving me a bag of toys and I ain't even kissed you. I ain't even it was like saying to me, dude, read the room. You ain't even got to first base yet, and you gonna give me some toys? So no, I did not get a bag of toys yesterday. Cause no. I'm just so there is this thing of, you know, sometimes what we do, yeah, sometimes what we do is we're not necessary. I don't even know how I got there. Let me see. How did I get there? I was talking about whatever. It's so I don't tell everything. Sometimes I just, you know, sometimes my stuff, I just told that, and I got that doggone stuff in there. I'm not necessarily giving it away yet, but I got them in there, you know. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, I am a lady, Michael, but I don't think that sex toys, I don't think that undoes this, right? I don't have a judgment on it. My judgment was about him not being aware that for the relationship that we had, it was inappropriate. If I had already been involved, or we were having something, or we were trying to take it to the next level, that's one thing. But if you ain't even got the first base, so to speak, with me, that is totally inappropriate. I don't, you know, y'all get, you know, I don't have a judgment about this stuff. What you and another person does in the privacy or in the context of your relationship, toss it up, flip it, do it any way you like. I don't have a judgment about that. If the two of you are, you know, on that level, on that page, that's great. But if you just, like, you know, walking up to a sister being like, you know, here, I just thought you might like this. Y'all quit. Raise the room. No. You be like, boy, bye. Boy, bye. That's what it was. Boy, bye. That's what I said to him too. Bye. So I hope he found somebody else to play his little toy game with. I don't know, because it wasn't going to be me. All right. Y'all, that's what I'm gonna leave it today because I don't even know how I went down that rabbit hole, but I'm gonna leave it there. I'm sending out blessings, love, and blessings to you all. I didn't talk about so much during the context of this hour, and it has been well. It's been an hour if we combined it. It may be a little short of that on the way it looks on Facebook, but it has been over an hour. So I am going to push on, and I look forward to our conversation tomorrow. If you're here, if you're available. If not, blessings to you anyway. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow. Peace and blessings to you as well, Walker. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, sending you love and blessings. And yeah, I will see you soon. All right. So have an amazing day. If you're on YouTube, hey, you can follow me. I'm on here every single day. Follow me, like me, or subscribe. Ding the bell. You know, all of that good stuff. All right. So I'm out. See ya. Have an amazing and enjoy the weather. Ooh, it's gonna be so good.